Hello, everybody. Welcome to the review of round six. So, 6 games or 7 games down. We're into round six now. The last of the early season buys are over. So, Melbourne and Richmond had their buys this week, and now no other buys until round 11 or 12. Well, I'm not too sure what it is. But so that's good as of next week. Full list of teams available for us to choose from, besides injuries, of course. Um, and an interesting one this week, there was the fourth leader in 4 weeks on top of the ladder, which is fantastic. So we'll go into that a little bit. We'll go into that shortly. But we'll start off with this week's games. We'll review this week's games. We'll start off with the Seek and Destroy, who were on top of the ladder after round 5. So if we have a look at here, Seek and Destroy start off the round as first, and now third. Although they did win, Bombers Forever 10th at the start of the round are still 10th. That game, pre-match projection was 379 to 378, so it was a close one. But Seek and Destroy 325 were down by 53 points on their projection, and Bombers Forever 299.5, very low score, down 78.8 on their projection. So if we have a quick look at the players and who did well that game, the standouts, obviously, both utilities weren't that great, 65 and 46. However, Stewart, that is, couple games were affected by injuries. If only there was a rule, someone got subbed out before half time. But Stewart was concussed. He went out of the game before half time, so he finished on 46.5. It would have made a massive difference because the average is over 80. He was down 44% on his score, and Andrew only lost by 26 points. Taylor Walker was down by 50% of his score. McDonald was down. Danaher was down by 41%. So a lot of difference there. Flanders had a great game though. He ended up hitting 65. If we want to see what he done, I mean, he would have got 74 as a halfback, 68 as a mid, 97.5 as utility. If we look at the little notepad that's next to the names there, you actually see what they got. So Flanders had 29 kicks in that game. Absolutely fantastic. Actually, you can even tell you the time on ground. He had 87% of his time on ground too. So he was up 28%, and Lukosius was up 26%. He got 49 as a halfback. Everyone else was fairly down. For Andrew, I mean, English as a ruck was up 19%. I mean, there was a couple of players, Butters and McGovern were up on their percentage, but everyone was up quite down. I mean, Wines 64% down on their tackling rate. They were only got 11 on that one. So very low scores for both teams, 325 to 299.5. And there's a couple of players. I mean, most players probably would have done better, to be honest, because they both had pretty low scores. But if we have a look at the optimized lineup, we can see that the scores are still quite low, but Andrew would have won. Well, Bombers would have won 378.5 against Seek and Destroy 366.5. Full forward would still have been Logan McDonald, but Lukosius would have been the half forward. Parrish would have been the utility. Cameron stays at the ruck. Well, Cameron would have been the ruck, sorry, not English. Oh, sorry, that's Seek and Destroy. I'm getting confused. Would have stayed as a ruck, Cameron. Hewitt in the mid, Duncan as a follower, Flanders as a halfback, and Still as a tackler. So a few changes in that team. Whereas Hill, full forward would have been Daniels and half forward Stengel. Butters would have been the utility with 93.5. English stays where he was. Horn Francis, I think he did get injured, but still would have got 50 as a midfielder. And Fife as a follower, 50. McGovern stays as a halfback. And Walker, Tex Walker would have been the tackler. So that would have been those scores there. However, Seek and Destroy got the win. Andrew stays on bottom of the ladder. And Seek and Destroy, although they did win, dropped down to third due to points for. All right, so let's move on to the next game. We'll start off with Sugar versus Top Guns. So Sugar Daddies now first on the ladder for points for. They were down 18 points on their projection. Top Guns were down 90 points on their projection. A massive drop off there. They stay ninth as well. So the bottom of the table, the 10th and 9th position players, teams stay where they are. If we have a quick look, Hogan was down 25%. Norton kicked 5 goals. He was up 96%. We discussed this in the previews, so we won't go too much into it. And Papley was up 33%, got 37 as a full forward. Heaney was down. Anderson was down quite a fair bit. He got just smashed in this game, down 46%, which is pretty good. It's about average. Laird was down 80%. Ryan down 34%, only got 45. Still good halfback score. And Drew was down 41% as well. We're over here. Kelly got about his average. Cherry, whatever your name is, Xeri, was up 30% as a ruck. Had a great game today against the Hawks in terms of tap out and hit outs. So we got 180 utility as well. So had a great guy. And 52 as a tackler. All around great game. How many tackles did he get? Let's have a look. He got 10 tackles. Rao was down 27%. Wangan and Malera, last few weeks haven't been that great, really. He was down 28% there. So those are those scores there. Walsh, 54, still great. Was down 8% because he had a great first game, but still a pretty good score if you ask me. So that was 393 to 304.5. If we have a quick look at anyone stand out, Bailey Dale was a standout. 77 as a halfback, 124 as utility. As I said, we discussed this the other day as well. We're over here. Houston would have got 103 as utility as well. But let's have a look at the optimised scores. Optimised lineup, should I say? Apologise. All right, so it would have been 495.5 for Sugar as an optimised lineup against 378.5 for Top Guns. Still not got it done. Norton full forward at 58, and Larky would have been the half forward at 43, whereas Papley stays where he is, and Lob would have got a game. Dale, 124.5 utility, and Houston, 103.5 utility. So two good scores for utility there. The rucks stay, Jackson will come into the ruck position instead for Witts, because Witts would have been the best tackler in the game at 39 for him, whereas Rao would have been the best tackler at 63. Wookie is the halfback, Walsh as the follower, and Sarong as the midfielder, where Heaney would have been the midfielder, and Duggan stays where he is on that one there. So those are those ones there. The lineup's 495.5, 378.5. Either way, Sugar won the game. He goes top of the ladder on points 4. So well done, Sugar. Second time this season you are on top of the ladder. Actually, no, it's the first time this season you're on top of the ladder because Falcons have been on top up until round 3 or 4 or something like that. So well done, Sugar. Great score, great game. And let's move on to the next game, which is the match of the round. Okay, the match of the round is Renegades, who highest points for team apparently, although they're 8th, so bad luck. Against Gators Bitches, who moved to second on the ladder after a big win. The reason this is the game of the round because no games are really that close, to be honest. But this is the highest scoring game of the round, so this is the game of the round. 426 to 384, highest score of the round. I was up 62 points on my projection, whereas Renegades were down 26 points on their projections. As you can tell, besides Blakey, who was up 4%, everyone was in the red for Stiff. I mean, Dunkley still got a pretty good score at 30 as a tackler, and Martin 56 as a midfielder was still pretty good. Darcy's first game back. Now, a bit unfair because his average last year was 43, and he still got 34, and he played 76% of the game on time. And a lot of that was in the forward line, so that's pretty good score for 34 as a ruck. And Merritt 89 utility is still pretty good. As it was Green, who kicked no goals but got plenty of inside 50s. He got, I think it was 10 inside 50s or something like that. Inside 50s, 8 inside 50s, 11 kicks. So he and I think 3 or 4. How many goal assists? 3 goal assists. So that's what gave him a pretty good half forward score. Whereas for me, Dylan Moore was fantastic today, up 94% on his score for the year. He got 50, kicked 4 goals, and Curnow done what Curnow does. Bont was up 9%, got 98, we said it the other day, and Grunty had a pretty good game for his 200th, got 36 as a ruck, up 22%. Tagoe in the mid was up again. He's had a bad start to the season, but hopefully he turns it around. And Zorko was up a little bit, as was Mitchell, who goes up 42%. Is that 42? Is my eyes count? 42% as a tackler. So he did pretty good. I mean, he's done it the last couple of weeks, to be honest, but his first few games were shocking. That's why his rankings up quite a fair bit. As you can tell, there's other few players there. I mean, Armin kicked a few goals for me. Over here, Nash as a utility and a tackler had a pretty good game, even as a mid and follower, as did Newcomb. And over here, there was few 98 as utility for Josh Kelly. Kicked a few goals. Also got Woodward 52 as a half forward. So there's a few missed opportunities there. If we have a look at the optimised lineups, it would have been still the win for me. 451 to stiff 426. So two pretty good, not as good as Sugar score, but two pretty good scores still. Gators Bitches 451 against 426. Taconi would have been the full forward. My four line stays the same, or my first four half forward utility and ruck all stay the same. Whereas Stiff would have brought Taconi as full forward and Kelly as a half forward. Martin would have been the utility. Darcy stays where he is. Merritt would have gone the mid. Keeps Davis Jr. LDU where he is and keeps Blake or keeps those three where they are. So those three. So just a change at the front there. Whereas me, I would have had an all Hawthorn mid of Nash and Newcomb, and Tom Mitchell stays around. Zorko would have been the halfback. Yeah, so I might have to do something about Harris Andrew, I think. So that's my game there. So 451 to 426 for the match of the round. Gators Bitches go to second on the ladder on points 4, whereas Renegades, who are the highest scoring team in the whole wide world, are still 8th. So anyway, let's go to the next game. All right. So the next game we're going to look at is Punters Paddock, who got the win and dropped down to 5th on the ladder once again for points 4 against Gods of Olympus, who dropped down to 7th. Now, this was another game that was, if you ask Mick anyway, affected by injuries. It was. But 329 projections, 347, so he was down by 18 points when Mick was down 85 points on his projections. Hawkins done nothing in the wet. He was down at 60%, and Elliott was down 80%. Rosie was down 65%, didn't do much at all, so he must have got shut out of the game. Whereas Trelaw, 101 as utility, was fantastic. Conway was up 62%. Now, he got 42 in the ruck. The reason being is McInerney got subbed out at half time. So he's still at 18 hitouts or something to half time and got concussed. So that made a massive effect. I think Conway to that stage, he had about 12 or something hit out, so he wasn't doing that great. So Michael was both affected by Marshall, who went off half. It was half. What did Marshall do? How many minutes on ground? No, wrong one. Sorry. Marshall had 81% on ground. So I don't know what you're whinging about Marshall for, Mick. He just had a bad game. Gordon was up 13%, so he was pretty good as a half forward. And Young actually did go off with a bit of an injury, so he didn't play most of that last quarter. 54% on game. So Whitfield, Hinge was the loophole. He had a good game as a halfback. Yo was good as a midfielder, not as good as a tackle this week, so only got 23. Whereas over here, Atkins, 27 tackle, done better, or down on his average. Dawson had a great game. Would have been better as a utility, 127.5 as utility, but he was all around pretty good. And I think that Supercoach scored of 171 or something. So he was up 46%. So a lot of players were up on their scores for that one, but a bit of a mixture there, really. If we look at the optimised lineups, and once again, I'll just, because Mick does the whole website, I'll let it say injuries cost in the game because Young and McInerney didn't play, only played half a game, really. But anyway, that's out of the way. You lost, bad luck. Punters Paddy get the win. It's in the top 5. And the optimised lineup for this one, 400 Punters Paddy and 3. So, Mick, you still would have lost with your best team out there. Once again, injuries, I know. But it would have been Schultz as the full forward and Lipinski as a full forward. 2 common players and half forward Sinclair, where Gordon stays where he is. Hinge would have been the best utility, and Dawson 127.5, best utility score of the round. And we'll go into that a little bit later to show you what Michael's done as well. The rucks, Marshall and Conway. Rosie would have been a better mid, and Yo, as would have Yo. Followers, Trelawn, Newman halfback with Clark as a halfback, and Hawkins would have been a better tackler, as would have Dangerfield. So that's game there. I believe that is all. Oh no, we got one more game. In the last game, reluctantly, because Kennedy didn't want to do his team, so I don't know why I'm going into this. But Fennick moved to 4th on the ladder. Big win, 409.5, up 18 points. Rang as anonymous. down 65 points. Did go into the game with a player who's done his knee and was injured and did not take him out in Stephen Coniglio. He was replaced by Finn Callaghan, who still got 54 points utility. But either way, it wasn't going to make a difference. He wasn't going to get 409 points because his whole forward line was down by 72 and 63% respectively. Lockenhill did his job. McCluggage there, but Darcy Moore, tackle, Rowbottom was a bit down. So all in all, that whole forward line was a massive difference as well as the utility in the result here. Whereas Mackay was up 14%. Warner a bit down, but still. Tom Green down 3%, still got 87. Miller down 90%. Dacos had a great second half actually. After Michael sledged him, he turned around and had a pretty good game. Got 56 points. And Redmond as a halfback, a bit of a different move for Fennick. Up 37%, got 62 points. I think he loopholed him. Oh no, he loopholed Bonner, that's right. Cripps as a tackler, he's been probably one of the better tacklers in the game. I think Rouse or Rowbottom's the best, but Cripps has been doing every week as a good tackler. Got 52 and up 44% there. Who could have been chosen? Well, I think McRae 92.5 was utility. Got 30 as a half tackler. Adams as a tackler wasn't too bad. Over here, anyone different? Not really. Briggs a tackler maybe. Ruckman 30, Meek now about the same. So let's look at the optimised lineups for that one. All right, so Harley Reid would have been the better full forward at 35, and Mackay stays where he is. Rochelle, imagine if he caught those, if he actually didn't get scared of the ball and caught those couple. How much better his half forward score would have been. Sorry, it would have been 427.5 and 378. So even Kenner's optimised lineup wasn't good enough to catch it. The utilities as McRae and Green, half forward Taylor Adams, Rux O'Brien, Meeks, so they stay as they are. Cripps is a midfielder 76 here, and Neil and McCluggage stay where they are. Those and Dacos stays where he is, Redmond stays where he is, and Miller and Cripps would have swapped around, and those guys stayed as they were. So the real big change there would have been the four line of utility for Kenner, but 427.5 for Fennick and 378.5 for Rangers. So let's have a look at the ladder. All right, so round 6, the ladder. As you can see, Sugar Daddies have gone on top, average 362.3. Next is Gaze, which is 55. Caught up a little bit on points 4 over Seek and Destroy and a few others. I did, but still I'm in the 2-4s with a lot of teams here in 2-5. Let's have a look at the best scorer. Stiff 2-6-4-1. Best average by far out. Only 2 wins. Oh, amazing. Well, that's what so be it. That's what life is. High scores. There's a couple of teams. I got my highest score for the season this week, 426. And lowest scores for the round. Here we go. Gods Olympus got their lowest score, as did Punters Paddock this round as well. Got their lowest scores. So a couple of little changes there in terms of the form line and so forth. So 3 teams on 20, 2 on 16. There is a gap between 5th and 6th now with 1 game. So let's have a quick look at the team of the round. Team of the round this week, 568.5 total score. Norton, 58 as full forward. Bailey Dale, 64 as a half forward. The utility would have been Jordan Dawson. The ruck would have been Xeri, Sherry, Sarah, whatever the hell. Midfield would have been Cripps and follower Flanders. Martin as the halfback and Rao as the tackler. Sugar Daddies had 1, 2, 3, 4 people in that team. And then Renegades, Seek and Destroy, Falcons, and Punters Paddock. Another thing I just want to quickly show you is Michael's got player stats here. If you want to, and it's a bit out of whack. So the teams need to move over a little bit here. So, like, if you want to look at the best tackle, you got to go to the little arrow at the very end there. You can see the best tackle of the round was Rao. Best halfback of the round was I don't know, halfback was Bailey Dale. Best follower, Cripps was best follower and Bailey Dale. So a few things there. You can see the utility spot. Best utility spot here. This is where it's out. Was Dawson, then Dale, then Jerry, Zorko. Oh, Zorko, 107. So yeah, have a look and you can see the full forward. Waterman will be the best full forward. Unrestricted free agent, as is Hoskin Elliott, as is Curtis. So these players, they've got an FW there. It means they are not in a team. So if you have a look at the utility spot, for example, um, first player out of all these that are in the team is Berry from Brisbane, and then it's Caldwell. So those players aren't in the team as well because mid-season draft is coming up. So just something there for Mick. You can work out the different links. He'll probably fix it up because he's pretty good with this stuff. On that one there. So just a reminder, if we have a quick look at this week's round, the round is already open. So Michael's already opened up round 7 because the first game is Wednesday night. Wednesday, Richmond play the D's. Thursday is the Anzac Day game, Essendon versus Collingwood, and then Thursday is also Giants versus Lions. So I'll do my preview after 3 games have already been played on that one. So remember, Wednesday is cut off, so the round is already open. So besides that, everyone, look, good luck for next week. Wednesday's the first game, Richmond versus Melbourne, then Collingwood versus Essendon. Have a good week and enjoy the short week this week. See yous.